Thug Behram, the smiling king of the Thuggee. The Smiling Noose, a tale of Thug Behram. Once upon a time, in the dust and shadow of India's long roads, there walked a man with a smile like the sun and a touch like death. His name was Behram, and to those who knew him, he was no man at all, but something else, something worse. They called him a holy man, a traveler, a friend. But beneath his gentle voice and kind eyes lay a secret buried beneath 1,000 corpses. He was the king of the Thuggee, the most feared cult of killers to ever haunt the roads of Hindustan. A man who had danced with death so often that he no longer feared it, only worshipped it. His weapon was not a blade, not a gun, not even poison. It was something far more silent, something you could not hear coming. A simple strip of cloth, a rumal, soft and white, draped over his shoulder like an innocent thing, and when the time came, when his victim least expected it, it would tighten like the fingers of fate itself. It was said he had killed men and women in the thousands. The number was too great to count, the bodies buried in shallow graves beneath the trees, hidden where only the earth and the wind could find them. Behram did not kill out of rage or greed. He killed for devotion, for the goddess Kali, the dark mother of destruction, whose name was whispered as the breath left a man's lungs. It was an offering, a ritual, a fate from which no traveler could escape. They say he did not work alone. The thugs moved in shadows, speaking in secret codes, waiting for the right moment. A kind word, a shared meal, a moment of trust. That was all it took. And then the cloth would slip around the throat, and the world would go silent. For years he walked among the living, a ghost in plain sight, never caught, never questioned, until the British came. Until the land itself grew tired of the blood that soaked into its roads. Until the thugs began to vanish, one by one dragged from their hiding places, their whispered prayers left unanswered. When they finally seized Behram, when they asked him how many lives he had stolen, he smiled. Too many to count, he said. But the gods had turned their eyes from him, and there was no escape. They did not let him die as he had lived, silent, unseen. No, they made him watch as the thugs were broken, as the shadows he had ruled were swallowed by the sun. And then at last it was his turn. Some say he was hanged, some say he was strangled, as he had done to so many others. But others whisper that Behram did not die, that his spirit still walks the roads of India, watching from the trees, waiting for another traveler to trust too easily. So if you find yourself on a long and lonely road, and a stranger offers you kindness, think before you take his hand. Look at his shoulder, at the cloth draped there so casually. And if he smiles, run. The Noose layers lullaby. Soft as silk, light as air. Lay your head if you dare. The road is long, the night is deep. Close your eyes, I'll help you sleep. One by one they fade away. Breath by breath, none can stay. No pain, no fear, no sound, no fight. Just sleep, my friend, sleep through the night. The goddess waits. Her love runs red. For every soul, for every thread. So take my hand, don't be afraid. The noose is soft, the price is paid. A song woven from the whispers of the dead, carried on the wind, waiting for the next weary traveler to listen to closely. Join the Untold family and become an Untold today. Like, subscribe and follow for more dark fables Untold. You can also listen to and download our lullabies and more on Spotify, Apple Music and YouTube. The House of the Unholy, the tale of Unravel. There once was a house where love was a lie, where prayers were spoken, but the walls listened in silence. A house ruled by a father, a preacher, a man of God, or so he claimed. But those who lived there did not find salvation, only darkness, only silence. His name was Unravel, but the world would come to call him something else, Father Bluebeard, a man who built his house not on faith but on blood. He preached to the world of righteousness, of virtue, of obedience, but within his home there was no God, only his law, his hands, his hunger. He ruled over his wives, his daughters, and his sons like a king over a broken kingdom. And when they failed him, when they questioned him, when they no longer served their purpose, they vanished. At first, the disappearances were small. A mother who had left, a son who had run away. No one dared to ask too many questions. Pandey told them what had happened, and his word was enough. But the house did not forget. The floors drank deeply. The walls swallowed screams. The very air hung thick with secrets, as if the house itself was afraid to speak of what it had seen. And then one day the whispers grew too loud to ignore. But monsters are never content to act alone. No, he had an accomplice. His own daughter drawn into the darkness, carrying out his will with hands as stained as his own. Together they believed themselves untouchable, gods in a house of the forsaken. But even the wicked grow careless. The lies unraveled. The world turned its gaze upon the house, and the sins of Father Bluebeard were dragged into the light. When they confronted him, he did not flinch. He did not confess, he merely smiled. "God will judge me," he said. But the judges of men did not wait for heaven. Andras Pandey was locked away, sentenced to eternity in a prison of stone, where no doors opened at his command, where no voices obeyed his will. He died there, alone, forgotten. Some say the house still stands, that even empty it is not silent, that at night when the wind moves through its broken halls you can hear something else, a voice, low and soft, calling out for the ones who never returned. Step inside, child, don't be afraid. A father's love will never fade. The doors are locked, the night is long, but dust won't wash the past away. And none are left to say they heard. A prayer was spoken, false and thin. No holy book, no guiding light. The father waits though none remain, his hands still reaching through the pain,